The Psalm says the God of Israel will never sleep or slumber. Yet Jesus, who's supposedly the very God of Israel, slept and slumbered. Jesus can't be God because Jesus slept and slumbered. And don't say the divine nature, Orthodox Muslim. It doesn't sleep.
Hello again, Libby. I see you're still using these truly terrible arguments, but have your manners improved at the very least?
Orthodox Muslim threatened to grape one of my friends in Arabic.
Shut the hell up, Blake. Shut the hell. You talk too much. كان جيك غادي في دبي تعرف شو ندير لك ولا بيجيك النيك تطيح عليك كبرها Blake. You understand me?
I do understand you. And,
Yes.
and I feel sad when you talk to me like that.
This was less than a year ago. She is now ex-Muslim, but when he said this to her, she was still Muslim.
Oh, I guess not. Lord have mercy. Regarding the topic at hand, these verses are talking about two completely different aspects of theology, those being what belongs to God according to nature, or kataphysin, and what God wills to assume or appropriate in the incarnation according to dispensation, or katikonomian. The former is a factual description of the mode of God's existence, while the latter is a free volitional act wherein God condescends to his creatures. Psalm 121:4 is talking about sleeplessness as being proper to God's life apart from creation. And here we have some technical theological terms. Ad intra, referring to God's inner life, to realities and or truths that are proper to his being, as well as ad extra, referring to God's activities in and through the cosmos. These include, but are not limited to, theophanies, miracles, judgment, salvation, incarnation, etc. With respect to God's inner life, ad intra, St. Maximus the Confessor says that God possesses in its completeness and fullness the total potentiality of being. That is to say, God is not reducible to or delimited by creaturely notions of potentiality with the beginning, middle, or end. In other words, God does not occupy any state between the potential and the actual, nor is God the end result of some unfolding process. And for the Confessor, this is because God is infinitely beyond all being, potentiality, and actualization. Since God exists in a state of perfection that transcends both potentiality and actuality, it makes sense that sleeplessness would be something proper to his being. That much is true. But it's also the case that God is not only a personal being, since he sees, hears, wills, and loves, but he's also an active being. This is where the divine energies come into play. God's energies refer to both his attributes as well as his active self-expressions, with active being the operative term. These two realities are known biblically as energies. St. Paul mentions them frequently in his epistles. God's energies are distinct, albeit inseparable from his essence, similarly to how the light that emanates from the sun is distinct, albeit inseparable from the sun itself. This distinction allows us to preserve God's divine freedom. It's how he can be fully self-actualized ad intra, while still being free to operate in the cosmos ad extra, which brings us to the incarnation. In Ephesians chapter 1, St. Paul says that all things were gathered together and made one in Christ. The Greek word translated as he might gather together is anakephaleusaste, which is derived from the word anakephaleo. This word literally means recapitulation, that Christ has recapitulated all things. As the last Adam, Christ's mission was to reconstitute the human condition by uniting humanity to his divinity. He worked throughout his 33 years to retrace our steps and undo the temporal and spiritual ramifications of Adam and Eve's sin. He became a baby to redeem and save babies, a child to redeem and save children, an adult to redeem and save adults. And since unalivement became part of the human story ever since Eden, the very last thing for Christ to recapitulate, conquer, and destroy is unalivement itself, which is why he gave his life on the cross. There is not a single aspect of the human condition that has not been permeated by Christ's rejuvenating power, and this also includes sleep. The Son of God willed to enter into a human mode of existence, so that all aspects of post-lapsarian human life are recapitulated and healed in him. And this principle was already foreshadowed as far back as the Old Testament, when God visited Abraham and his wife Sarah. We're told that the Lord, literally Jehovah, appeared to Abraham by the terebinth trees of Mamre. Abraham looked up and saw 3 men, ran over to greet them, and addressed one of them as his Lord. He then offered to bring them food and water, and in case it wasn't crystal clear that God was literally in Abraham's midst, we're told that Jehovah left as soon as he finished speaking with Abraham. So the pre-incarnate God appeared in time and space, ate food, drank water, and had a conversation with a human being. Are any of these human acts proper to God's being? No, not at all. But he still chose to engage in them. That's the key distinction. Ontology and free volitional acts are two different things, and it would behoove you, Orthodox grifter, to understand the difference.